Hey everybody, Zach here with the Builders Brotherhood, here with another episode. And today we're going to be talking about starting your construction company. Now, there is so much information to go over with starting your own construction company. And today we're going to hit a couple of those bullet points. Now, it is definitely not going to encapsulate everything, but this will be a good road for you to or a good path for you to take if you want to actually start your construction company. So, one of the big topics that I like to talk to people about is why do you want to start your company? And there could be a lot of reasons as to why somebody wants to start their company. For me, when I started my company, it was that I just didn't want to work for somebody else. And that's what drove me every day was the fact that I worked for other people for so many years, and I just wanted that freedom of being able to be the boss, and maybe you're in that same boat. That's totally fine. That's a good place to start. It's good motivation. I'd say that a lot of people, probably a high percentage of people, actually start from that place as well. Is that you just don't wanna be bossed around by somebody else. Is that always the best reason to start your own business? No. A lot of the times, people are not capable of running their own business. They just don't wanna be bossed around by somebody else. So, if you are the type of person that is going to start your own business due to not wanting to be bossed around, then I would suggest that you do some research and make sure that you're actually cut out to run a business because I'm not going to sugarcoat it at all. It is extremely difficult to run your own business. It is time consuming, it's physically demanding, and it honestly just takes a toll on you mentally as well. But there's a lot of rewards that come with owning your own business. So if you are business minded, then I'd say go for it. That's great motivation is to want to be your own boss. And if you have the ability to do it, then do it. Um, Other reasons that you may want to start your own construction company is that you just feel like other competitors are just not putting out the product that you believe that you can offer the world, and you've got something either new or more high quality, and that's totally valid. There is a demand for high quality professionalism in the construction industry, and if you're able to deliver on that high quality, then you're going to do pretty well in this business, especially if you have some business background or management background. You're going to do really well because there's a lot of people that are not doing a very good job. I'm sure you've been on a lot of construction jobs and you look around and you're like, who did this hack job? And it's actually a licensed professional that did it. That's the most shocking part is when you find like a homeowner, DIYer, or a uncle coming over and doing a project. You can't really be like that surprised when it isn't to like your standards as a professional that's been doing it as a career for X amount of years. So it does it is shocking, I would say, that when you come across a homeowner and they're saying that they hired somebody as a licensed professional that's been in business for 10, 20 years, and then you're looking at a product that is just horrible. And that's probably why they're reaching out to you to have the job done right. So that's good motivation as well. There is a lot of money in that. So I'd say that is a good way to start your business too. I could go on and on about great reasons to start your business, but as long as you have a pretty good reason and you have the ability to actually run a business, then I'd say go for it. There's a lot of benefits that come with owning your own business. So you found out why you want to start your business, but what does it take to actually start your business? And I would have to say that it takes a lot. Now, it doesn't always have to take a lot, but I'm coming from a place where if I'm gonna start a business, I'm gonna start it right, and I'm gonna start it in the hopes to where I'm running the business and it's not running me. And it takes a lot of effort to do that. I have talked to many a guys and worked with many a guys, and they plenty of them have their own business or did have their own business, and it was like they were on the hamster wheel or are on the hamster wheel. They're never getting to that next level. They're constantly just revolving in this space of not a consistent flow of work, not a consistent flow of money, not a consistent flow of employees, and you can't project out your future. And so you're just constantly stuck in this place where you just dig yourself deeper and deeper, and it becomes harder and harder to actually pull yourself out of that place. So I would suggest that if you are going to get into business, that you take the time to figure out everything you need, have your business plan, and execute every aspect of that plan that you possibly can in the beginning. Hold true to the values that you want in your business, hold true to the mission statement that you've created for your business, and you're gonna have a better chance, I would say, at having a good trajectory for your business. Because if you've got a couple friends or your numbers getting passed along from people to people and they're calling you for work, and let's say you got 5 or 10 jobs lined up, and you think that you're ready to jump into business. Well, what happens when those 5 or 10 jobs run up? Do you have a flow of more business coming in? Do you have a plan of how you're gonna get more business? These are all things that you should be thinking about before you even start your own business or quit your job if you do have a job. It's really appealing when you see the dollar signs to have to just dive in head first. I've done it myself. I've dove in head first. Wasn't terrible, but it definitely wasn't great. You have a good few months or whatever, and then all of a sudden it's totally dry. It's the Sahara Desert. And then what do you do? Then you go knocking on doors. I've done it. I've knocked on doors. I've handed out business cards to people. I've gotten a few jobs that way by literally just going around my neighborhood and knocking on doors and shaking hands. But that takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, whereas you can be actually productive if you just had the steady flow of work. So it takes business coming into your business. You need clients, you need customers, and you need some steady stream. And that could be through many different avenues. We can talk about this at a later date on a different video, but there's a multitude of people or places or products to get customers and clients face to face with you. And I'm not saying that you need to have just this plethora of clientele either. I mean, everybody has to start somewhere. You can't just be expected to be the number one remodeler in your area overnight. You got to build that reputation and you got to build that clout for yourself. So it takes a steady source of clientele. It takes starting your business the proper way. And sometimes that involves you actually having to pay for a lawyer or some sort of consultant to actually build the structure of your business for you and with you, because not every structure is going to work for everybody. You can have just a DBA, which I don't recommend. You can do an LLC, you can have an S corp, C corp, um, all these different types of entities that you can actually have your business in. But that is key for you to be starting out well in your business too. Is that you are protecting yourself and protecting your business and separating yourself from the business. So I would advise all of you to reach out to either a lawyer or a professional that can steer you on that path. It'll be money well spent for you. And then you also need to look at your local building codes and what licenses that you need in your state. So you might need no licenses and just have to pay a fee. That there's some areas like that. You might need some cheap license, and but you can only do a certain amount of a certain price of work. Once you get above a dollar amount, it's a different license that you're going to need potentially, or you need to just get a full blown general contractor's license or something like that. And those all vary in how difficult it is to acquire. I would say the last one takes some knowledge in the industry, maybe some studying of local building codes and international building codes, and taking a test and passing the test. And that's not always that easy. So that's one thing that it may take for you in your state to actually get your business up and running and doing it professionally is doing some studying, getting some more years under your belt, paying some fees to get some licenses. So that's like the business side of things. There's also financial. I would say that you're going to want like a good chunk of money that you can sit on. Maybe have some money so that you and your family can live for, let's say, 6 months if you just didn't have any work. You don't have to have that, but I would definitely say that you're gonna be chasing down work in a much more comfortable manner if you feel comfortable yourself. So, all that stuff's well and good, and I think many of you out there are more than capable of doing all that stuff. It's really not that difficult, but I would say on the flip side of all this stuff, there's a psychology that is involved in this, and you need to have a honest conversation with yourself and your family. Maybe that might take you looking in the mirror at yourself and just think, are you actually ready for this? I would I would say that most people who start a construction business are not ready to do it. And they might be the best craftsmen out there. They might have a little nest egg of money, but their head isn't right. And if anything you can get from this video is that I would say the most important thing is that you just need to get your mind right. There's books you can read, there's people that you can reach out to. Hopefully, you have friends or family in your life, or you have some sort of professional or mentor, I would say, in the industry that can enlighten you to what a day to day life of owning a construction business is. Um, but if you're not a self motivated person and you're not like, I mean, this isn't really totally related to the construction business, but I would say that it is that you need to have some level of self-control. You need to have good eating habits. You need to have a good schedule for your day. You can't be running around all hectic. You need to be able to manage your own personal time really well and priorities. Um, you need to have good hygiene and you need to um, not wake up every day and be sad, upset, depressed, or hate your life. I mean, if you're feeling that way before you start a business, it's not the business isn't going to fix it. It's only going to probably enhance it, honestly. So I would say get your mind right, get your finances right, and then get all the legal stuff right. That's what it's going to take to start your business and the marketing. Also having some level of marketing. Um, so this is a tough topic, but not everybody is cut out for every level of construction. You may think you are, but there is a chance that you're not, and that's okay. We need to have people performing work at all different levels of uh, of the finished product, of the price point of the work. We need to have people that can do cheap, not maybe the greatest looking work, and we need to have people that make anybody's home look like the Taj Mahal. We there's always going to be that spectrum, and I would you can make good money in the whole spectrum too. I'm not saying that just because you're doing cheap work or quick work or maybe not the best level of work doesn't mean you can't make good money. You can. I know many people that aren't high-end remodelers, but they make a killing. And you might think, "Well, these people don't deserve to make all this money. They're not giving people a good product." But I would say that we not everybody can afford a really good product. Like, what do people do who don't have a lot of money and can't afford to just have their house get turned into the Taj Mahal? Well, they need to have people that maybe don't do the work as good as that, and that's totally fine. Um, maybe it would look weird on their house having some crazy, beautiful, decorative, um, moldings and designed features and all this. It doesn't fit into the space. So we need to have people on the whole spectrum of that. So, what I wanna hit on with this point is that you need to define what level of that spectrum that you wanna be on. Do you wanna be a high-end luxury remodeler or home builder or design build firm for custom homes? Do you wanna just bang out small little jobs or be a handyman? Doesn't matter. You can make money in all of them, but being able to define where you wanna be is gonna set you up for success early on, because if you're wanting to be a high-end luxury remodeler and your craftsmanship is not to that level, you're not gonna do very well because 'cause you're selling a product that's too expensive, and people are gonna weed that out real quick. They're gonna tell all their friends, the reviews online, everything's gonna come out, and you're gonna look like you're gonna be down in the dumps probably, to be honest. If you're starting to get a bad name for yourself and you just overshot, I guess. You can build up to that, that's fine too, that could be your business model, is that you wanna start off at this level, but your goal is to get to that level, that's totally fine. But you just need to define right here, right now, where am I? And this is what I'm gonna provide people. Because I know everybody probably wants to do, like, luxury, high-end work, but there's a lot that's involved in that. A lot that's involved in that. You have to have really good, people skills. You have to have super professional paperwork and responses to people. You have to be very responsive to people through emails, through your phone, through the mail, maybe. You need to have the skills to actually perform that work, not even just from the trade that you're performing. You need to have the personal skills to actually do it. So define that level that you want to be at, and that's going to set you up a lot better. That's all I want to say with that. Now, do you have a specialty when it comes to your work? Are you like, let's even say let's just use masons, for example. You're a mason. Here's everybody on the level of masons. Everybody knows this level of skill, but you are just above it. You know something that's either creative, you're a creative person, you're able to like manipulate the block in a certain way that makes it into more of like an artsy look, or like favors people who are more design oriented. Um, or maybe you're product is better because of the way that you stack it or the mortars that you use or the waterproofing that you do to it. Maybe you do something that's different than everybody else. That's gonna be really big for you. I mean, if you're able to sell people on something that nobody else is selling, I would say lean on that. There's so many different like, it could be even on a bigger scale if you're just um, like a general contractor and you're doing whole remodels for people, but you also have, like, some level of design skills, when it comes to, like, furnitures and furnishings in a home, and you have relationships built with, like, different places, that could be a super big selling point for people because 'cause they're like, "Well, I wanna get a general contractor, then I need to get a designer. I don't wanna pay a whole big design build firm, like, my project isn't that big. Oh, this guy over here, like, he is just a general contractor, but he's, like, really in touch with, like, the furnishings of the home too, so you could lean on that. That could be a good selling point, um, maybe not even for a higher price, just to get your foot in the door and actually just get the jobs over your competitors. You have that extra little thing that you can offer. So, if you have a specialty, I would say find it, do some soul searching, think about whatever it is that you're doing, and if you have something that's cool or unique about it, then lean on it. Lean on it and take advantage of it. That's what I'm talking about. Um, when is the best time for you to start? So that's the other thing I want to hit on. The best time to start is who knows? It's different for everybody, honestly. If I'm being completely honest, it's different for everybody. Today might be the right time for you to start, or it could be 3 years from now. But what I wanna hit on with this is you need to figure out when is the best time to start. Have you been working 15 years in the industry? You know everything there is to know? You're you got your mind right, your family's on board, you did your research, you spoke to a lawyer, you know your entity. I would say you're ready now. Why not? Take the leap. If you got all that stuff checked off the list, take the leap. If you're prepared, you got some finances stashed away, you're a good talkative person, you're very personable, why not? There's a need for good people in this industry, and if you have all those things figured out, then take that leap. Now, what if you only have a couple of those things figured out? That's fine too, you could still start tomorrow. You don't have to have everything checked off this list. Not saying that this is the only road to start your business. You might be totally unprepared and you figure it out along the way and you become wildly successful. There's plenty of stories like that. Or you could have a plan and you could think about a couple years down the road. Maybe you have a 1 year plan, 2 year plan, 5 year plan. You're in no rush to start your business, but you know you want to start your business. That's a really good place to be too, because you can start setting goals. Create a list, check that list off as the years go by or the months go by. And if there's a last box on that list that says take that leap and you finally get to that point, it's 1 year down the road, 3 years down the road, you got to constantly be working towards it. But how good is it going to feel if you created that plan right now and a couple years from now, you actually checked that box and you took that leap? You're going into it with a rational mind too, so you're probably going to be successful. You took years to think about this. You planned it, you set goals. You're probably going to do a pretty good job. So, not every so many people want to get into business. I want to get in business. You don't have to do it tomorrow. But what I would say is that you should start planning tomorrow. If you know you want to start your business, start planning tomorrow. or today if you're watching this in the morning. So everybody's best time to start is going to be different. I'm going to be honest with that. But determine when is your best time to start. So, little housekeeping I got to do on this channel. It's a new channel, trying to bring out some valuable content to everybody. Just set up a studio. Gonna get it better as the weeks and months go on. If you are getting some value from this video, then please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and share it to other people in the industry. It helps this channel out astronomically. And I only got a few subscribers right now, so I could really use it. So if you are actually getting value from it, please take the time to do that. That's all I got to say. Had to put that out there. Now, that being said, we've been talking about starting your construction business. I would say that everybody, even if you're ready to start your business tomorrow, that before you take that leap, picture your life 10 years, 20 years down the road, whatever it may be, that time frame, and picture yourself still having this business, and maybe even picture it the way that you want the business to become. Are you going to be happy in 10 or 20 years from now? Really think about that. This is a tough industry, a very, very tough, demanding industry. Think about that. But not only that, because we're not just thinking about ourselves here. I'm sure a lot of you out there have families, and we need to think about our families as well. Is your family going to be happy 10 years from now, 20 years from now? That's important. You don't want to come home and everybody be sad because dad or mom's at work all the time. I never even see them. My wife or husband, I never even get to see them. And then even when they're home, they're just in their office. They're just crunching numbers. They're just sending out estimates until 2 o'clock in the morning. Not every business ends there. If you structure your business right and you do everything good and you bring good people into your business, you can actually step away from your business, and that's the goal. But unfortunately, that does not happen. The percentages are not in your favor with starting a business for that life. Too many people get stuck on that hamster wheel, and you could potentially be one of those people. So you need to just think about that. That's all I'm saying, is that you need to think about yourself. You need to think about your family. And are you going to be capable of getting yourself off that hamster wheel? Are you going to be able to build a business that has great people, a great culture, is successful? Everybody shows up every day, driven, ready to do work, to the point where they actually push you away. They want you to take some time off. They want you to spend time with your family because you built them such a great thing. You built them a company and a culture that allows them to have a family and make a good living. All I'm saying is just think about it. Project out years down the road. If this is something that you want to do, then take that leap. Now you started your business and you're trying to figure out, how am I going to keep this steady flow of clientele coming in, customers coming in? I don't know how new you are to the business, or maybe you've been in it for many, many years. Something that is huge about construction is that you need to build relationships. That is going to be one of your biggest pathways to success in this industry. Build relationships with designers, with architects, subcontractors, or other contractors. Maybe join a business group, business networking group, so that you all can refer each other out, get to know the community, join stuff in your community, build relationships with your family and your friends, and the success is going to come towards you. People are going to call you, they're going to trust you, they're going to want you to come back. And that all comes with just building relationships. You might be the greatest mason or carpenter in the world, but nobody likes you. You're not going to do good in the business. You're not. If nobody likes you and nobody wants to work with you, then you're nobody's going to hire you. So this goes back to the mind and getting your mind right. Are you good at getting along with people? Are you good at listening to people? You need to be able to listen to people. You can't talk over people. You got to be able to listen to them and build relationships with them. Sounds simple, but it's not. It's tough to build relationships and get people to trust you. But just being there, being in their face, letting them see you, have your lettering on your vehicles, being in the community, people are going to recognize you more and more, and they'll start coming back to you. Now, you're looking at starting the business, and it could be a pretty daunting task when you're looking at all these different things. I need to set up an entity. I need to get a license. I need to get insurance. I need to do all these things, talk to a lawyer. Starting businesses doesn't have to be something you do alone. A lot of people might not think that. Thinking like, especially in the construction industry, they're like, well, I'm just really good at this and I just want to do it for myself. Well, that's great. You're really good carpenter, let's say, and you want to do it for yourself. That's great. But you know that you aren't really good at business. Well, there is another path. I'm here to share with you another path is partnering. Get a partnership. You have a buddy or a family member or whatever that doesn't know anything or isn't good at building beautiful stuff, but they know how to run a business. That sounds great, doesn't it? Then you don't have to stress about trying to acquire all these skills that you don't have. Your partner doesn't have to worry about acquiring all the skills they don't have. You guys can come together, even if you're doing like a 50-50 split of all the profits of the business. You're also splitting 50% of the work. I mean, that's huge. Not only for you, that's huge for your family, that you're not doing everything, you're wearing every single hat. I mean, it's a pretty good price to pay, I would think. You gotta pay away half of your business, but you get to cut away half the work. That's huge, but you gotta do the partnership right. You can't just always be pushing off stuff to the other partner and vice versa. They can't be doing that to you all the time. So the partnership has to be right. You can't just pluck anybody off the street or put a ad on Craigslist and start a business with them. I'm sure you're all smart enough to not do that. So, but it is something to think about for sure. Like everything we talked about earlier in the video, you might be overwhelmed by that and you're like, I'm never going to be able to start this business. This is crazy. This is unrealistic. Get a partner. Get somebody on board and you guys can do some work together and create great stuff and then you're building a beautiful business for two families and you're building a culture of all these people and doing great work. I mean, who cares? Who cares if you have a partner? They're great, but you just gotta be careful with them. That's one thing I'll say. You gotta be careful. You gotta pick the right partner. You don't wanna get burned. You don't want the other person to just totally stop doing work one day. So maybe some of the stuff that I've talked about fortifying your mind and having conversations with family and yourself. Maybe when you interview partner, a potential partner, these are some things that you ask of them. Like, have you really thought about it? Is this something that you want to do? Like 10 years from now, do you see yourself still doing this? They might tell you right there, like 10 years, no, I don't know what I'm gonna be doing in 10 years. That might be a red flag. May not though, but at least you're having that conversation with the person and you're being able to kind of whittle away all the things that you might have fears of, and everything's out in the open. And when you have a partnership, you got to have everything out in the open. All the tough conversations, you have to be able to talk to that person about it. That's the whole thing with a partnership. Now, we went over a lot of stuff and it literally just barely even scratched the surface. Um, we'll go into more of it over the rest of the videos, but the last thing that I want to drive home on this is that the road to success is very difficult. It is extremely difficult, but it's extremely rewarding and it's very worth it. And so I would say that any of you who can get through this video and feel still pumped up and good to go, and everything that I'm saying here is just resonating with you and you're like, "Yeah, like I can do this." Go for it. Why not? What do you got to lose? You only get to I mean, you're only here for how many years that you don't even know. We think we're gonna live until we're 70, 80 years old, but you never know. So why not take the time today to actually go out there and start trying to build something, have your family respect you and love you for the things that you did. You gotta have a good support system though. You can't have if you do have a family, maybe you're just a single person, which is totally fine too. But if you do have a family, you can't come home to them just being miserable and unhappy about you starting the business. So that's something very real to think about. But I do want you to know that the success is definitely worth it. Once you start seeing the money come in, seeing the business start to flow and work, it you just come to this realization that you're like this all the fruits of my labor are actually worth something. Started out as a little seed and now it's a beautiful fruit. And I get to enjoy it, and all that work it took me to get there is finally paying out, and you can do all the great things that you wanna do in life. I mean, not everything's about money, and that's something that I talk about on my channel is you shouldn't just be getting in this business just for money. It's not a good reason to get into this business because it's not easy to earn the dollars in this. It's really not. There's so many headaches, so many crazy things that go on, and we'll talk about them in further videos. But all in all, it is worth it. And please put a comment down below. Let's have a conversation. Um, I want to know at what stage you're at in your business and or in starting your business. Maybe you haven't started a business. Like, let me know and we can have a conversation about where you want to go with things. One last time, a little housekeeping is please just like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you on the next one.